Everybody. Please share with us where you come from in the chat. Please share with us also your questions. Hi, Adi. Nice to see you again. Your questions in the chat. You're also welcome to ask any questions after each presentation or at the end. You can also then, after the presentations, share your questions on our secretary mail, and we can forward to the speakers. We can also connect you with the speakers, or you just reach out on your own. We have two excellent presentations today. The first one is Shani Evenstein Sigalov from London, and she'll be presenting her project, but also the event that is happening next week. I don't know, Shani, you will speak about that a bit more, if there's still possibility that people join us next week, but of course that's up to you to speak about. And then Slava from Codata, but okay, we will speak about each presenter a little bit further on. So if you let me, I will just introduce the first speaker. So Shani is an educator specializing in technology and learning. She's a researcher, lecturer, and open knowledge advocate. She focuses on the intersection between education, technology, innovation, and openness. Recently finishing serving 6 years on the board of trustees of the Wikimedia Foundation. And now she is a Marie Curie postdoctoral research fellow at the University of London, which is amazing. Shani, I will give you the floor to present your AI Bridges project and, of course, the event you are preparing for the next week, for which I also have to say that we are very pleased that we cooperate, so AI4LAM and her university and project in further endeavors in AI implementation and cultural heritage. So please, Shani, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Ines. And this is one of the loveliest communities that I'm really feeling privileged and honored to speak to all of you today. And thank you, Ines, for the lovely intro. I have to be honest, I think all of you, we are all hearing so many presentations. So today I opted to just speaking to you. No slides, just me, and perhaps the website. I'll show a few things, but really I just wanted a chance to hear you as well, and to interact more, I don't know, like human beings do, not via presentations, but more directly. So maybe I'll try to, I think we have 20 minutes, Ines, right? So, and then we'll have hopefully some time for Q&A, but I'm thinking I'll divide the time in such a way that first I'll tell you a bit about AI Bridges, which is this project here. This is our website. And I want to share why I started it in the first place, why I think it's important and timely, and how all of you, I think, are connected to it already, even if you don't know it yet, and how I'm hoping to collaborate with each person working and sitting here in the room. And we'll share a bit about the vision of the project and beyond the time that it's I think Ines mentioned this is a Marie Curie project. So some of you may know this is a European Commission funded research project for 2 years, but really we're not thinking about it like that. I know it may sound a bit ambitious, but we're thinking way beyond these 2 years because of the topic that we're dealing with that is so essential and has been with us for so long. And then I'll talk a bit about the symposium that Ines has already mentioned. And yes, Ines, you're right. Registration is open for absolutely 2 whole days. So if you're in London or very adjacent and can join us, please do register. I'll share the link and maybe show a bit the program a bit later on. But I'll start at the beginning maybe of why this project, why now, why I think it's important. So AI Bridges really is a culmination, I would say, of everything that I've been doing for the past 15 or 20 years. I know it sounds pompous, but I've been an open knowledge advocate for many, many years, not just in the Wikimedia sphere, but mainly Wikimedia. And the work that I've been doing there, because I'm such a an outreach person in my heart. This is how I started out in Wikimedia. I started collaborating with different institutions, and it started with the Israel Museum and our National Library, and it expanded to some more international collaborations that are not just local. And I did lots of work, not just, I would say, with GLAMs or LAMs, but to me, any institution that holds data, I would say, is fair game. So that includes educational and academic institutions, research institutions, governments, civil society projects that curate knowledge, anything of the sort, really. And done a lot of outreach. That means working a lot with these experts from these institutions and helping them make their knowledge accessible through Wikimedia projects, various projects. And yes, it started with Wikipedia, as things always do. And but very fast, because while I was working on things, Wikidata started to emerge, and I started to get more and more into linked open data and to how we can curate data in a structured way that is also machine readable, and did my PhD on Wikidata as a learning platform. And that allowed me really a perspective of what's happening in the world with Wikidata. So I had the chance of actually interviewing so many people from all over the world and hear about how they're using this platform to enhance their work and to share knowledge. And so I've always cared deeply about making knowledge accessible to humanity, almost like a sort of, I would say, basic human right, access to knowledge. This is what access to knowledge is to me, and I'm sure to all of you if you're sitting here. And then when I submitted my PhD, Gen AI happened. It was like months after the eruption of ChatGPT. And as someone coming from technology and learning, it was clear to me that I have to do something and understand. You can say that Ines shared before that I'm always with the intersection between, I would say, knowledge, technology, education, innovation, and open knowledge. But really, it is about the epistemology of knowledge systems and how we consume information and how we produce information. These have always been the things that I'm interested in as a lecturer at university and as a researcher. And when Gen AI erupted, I immediately grasped how transformative it is. And I know about you, but I still keep hearing people saying, "Oh, this is just another small technological shift. We've been through a few of those before. It's not a big deal." No, this is a big deal, at least to me. This changes everything. And so I set out to explore what it does to open knowledge, to how we consume information, produce information, and what it does to truth as well, I would say, in the world. So I could immediately see all the different challenges that it brings about into our day-to-day, all of us. But I could also see the massive opportunities. And when I pitched AI Bridges, it was a moment in time where I observed a few things about how we were doing things. Before Gen AI, we had lots of institutions. We in Wikimedia work with institutions from all over the world. So some of you may know it very well because you're collaborating with us already. But those who do that, and please don't be shy to say so in the chat or just wave if you feel what I'm saying. It's so damn hard to collaborate with us. Honestly, we're fabulous. And it's an amazing group of people globally, but it's very hard to work with Wikimedia, especially if you want to share linked open data. You need lots of technical knowledge. You need know-how of the Wikiverse, this world, this culture of how Wikimedia works. And it's a lot. And for institutions that are less resourced, smaller scale, medium to smaller size, it's tough. Even for the big ones, like the Met and the British Museum, right? Like big institutions globally, it's been hard. So when Gen AI erupted, I was immediately thinking, okay, we've had this issue of, we know we offer a wonderful solution to humanity. They want to collaborate with us, but it's really hard. Can GenAI help us do that more easily? Can we actually create a pipeline that will help institutions share their knowledge in a more, I know, easy, low code, no code type of way? Can we actually have a system that guides people like yourselves from institutions how to do it step by step without skipping anything, without getting lost in this labyrinth that is Wikimedia? That was the main big question. The second big question was about me observing another thing. And that is, at the moment when I pitched the project, we had a crazy moment in time that is still true today, by the way, to less extent because it's starting to change, but it's still true. Most of the big LLMs out there are heavily, heavily trained on Wikipedia, but not on Wikidata. I don't know if you're aware of that, but when I learned that, it was like my mind blew, because that meant that for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, humanity have been curating linked open data, not just in Wikidata and Wikibases, but linked open data in general. So that's a huge human curated resource out there that is machine readable, that is not being tapped into. And as we saw how LLMs are hallucinating a lot and not connecting their answers to our institutional knowledge, the question became, can we create a bridge between how LLMs are working and institutional knowledge? Can we actually make sure that they are connected somehow? That was a moment in time when rugs exploded. And we said, yes, let's explore a rug between Wikidata and LLMs. And that's how we started out. Today, we're in a bit of a different place, but these were two of the main questions that I set out to work with. There was a third one, a third bucket. By the way, if you go to the AI Bridges website and you click on the project itself, you will be able to see the three buckets that I just described. And the main page is more about the high level of trying to connect institutions, open knowledge, and Gen AI more broadly. And we're trying to bring together to the same room these different stakeholders. So people from institutions, people who are coming from the open knowledge sphere, technologists, and funders, which is like a group that I didn't think of at the beginning, but became very important. And so we think that, I think that in order to solve some of our big problems in the world, we have to come together. We can't do it alone. And I think it can't resonate, I think, what I'm saying now in a better space than AI4LAM, because this is exactly what this group is really about. It's about us coming together and understanding that we are much stronger together than separately. And we somehow need to sort of coordinate that work. And I was in a space where I was seeing lots of work happening separately in silos, uncoordinated, many efforts duplicated. And I wanted to solve for all of this. And so this is what AI Bridges is trying to do. It's trying to create bridges between these three main silos, also bring funders into the table, because I think the more I worked on the project, the more it became clear that they can't not be part of the discussion, part of the dialogue that we have. We can't just come to them asking for money. They need to be part of the thought process, and they need to know the people, and they need to know, because, oh my gosh, how much money do I see thrown on AI just because it's AI? Not necessarily the best project, not necessarily the right people, not necessarily the right initiative. Some of them, yes, but not all. So can we actually try to do something nice for the whole ecosystem, is what AI Bridges is really about. And thankfully, I'll say I'm not doing it alone. So I was very privileged to have 5 co-partners. If you click on partners on the website, you'll be able to see that I have 5 co-partners that are going with me the whole way. Many of them Wikimedia chapters, but also Playas. And if you don't know Playas, they are a small but strong AI lab that is creating open source language models for institutions. And we're hoping that their expertise can help us actually build the infrastructure that we need in order to do what I've described. Some of it would be exploring some sort of open source language model that the whole ecosystem can use. And we are now starting, I'm very happy to share here, you're probably the first that I'm telling publicly, but we just received a small grant that allows us to start developing some work that will be sort of infrastructure to that. And we are thinking about how LLMs are flattening information that is rich and multilingual and diverse with references that is out there in linked open data platforms like Wikidata and Wikibase. And what can we do in order for them not to flatten it and still for us to speak to a language model and get tailored answers from our institutions, from our data. They're less hallucinated and where we can see the provenance if you follow what I'm saying. So this is what we're trying to do now. And as Ines mentioned, we're going to have a moment next week that I'm very excited about because we're trying to make that a reality in a physical event. And maybe I'll share a link to the full program if you haven't seen it yet. There you go. Oh, sorry, before the symposium, just one more word. In the partners page, you probably saw that I have 5 core partners, but there's a list of individuals and institutions that I'm working with. They're not core partners, but they're partners nonetheless. Each of them is bringing something else to the table. And one of the best things that you can help us do is share your sample data from your institution. That will help us both train the pipeline that I described to make sure that it knows to digest different languages, different types of data on different types of items from various institutions from around the world, but also train that language model. So if you are interested in what we're doing, please reach out to me and you'll become partner. You can help us in that way. We're also inviting people to be thought partners and think with us about how this pipeline and all the systems that we're designing should look like, because, well, it is for you. So you might as well be in the room as we're designing it and making sure that it fits you. And lastly, the symposium. The symposium is really a moment in time where we're trying to bring all these different stakeholders together to the same room. Because as I mentioned, I think it's necessary for everyone to speak together in order to solve things. And usually, again, it's very siloed. Technologists talk to technologists. Open knowledge people talk to open knowledge people. Institutional folks talk to other institutions rather than to all the rest, not to mention funders. But there you go. I'm trying to bring everyone to the same place. It's hard. We'll see how it goes. It's all a big experiment, but I'm really excited about sharing it with some really fabulous people from all over the world. And we're going to do Thursday, really a week and 2 days from now, which is a training day for institutions. So if you are new to concepts like what is Wikidata, what is a Wikibase, how is the embedding project and MCP for Wikidata works, all of that is going to be covered on that training day. For that one, you can actually register to be online participant. You don't have to be physically in London. You can join us online. So please do that if you care about that topic. And we're going to have some vibe coding at the end. In parentheses, hopefully done right, because vibe coding could be tricky if done not right. So we're attempting to see if we can actually do a session about vibe coding done right for institutions. And then the main symposium day is on Friday. We have an intro session to introduce who we are and what we do. But then we have a fabulous expert panel that Ines is part of. For the first time in my life, I have to say, I've done lots of panels. I know about you. This is the biggest panel. It's humongous. It's like 13 people. But that's because I had the crazy, crazy idea that I actually need every person, like a representative from each of these subgroups on the table talking together. So we have technologists and someone from Microsoft and someone who's a funder, and we have a few different folks from the open knowledge sphere, and we have every type of institution that I could think of, from a government representative to the BBC to Ines which is not really an institution, I see you more, Ines, as AI4LAM, more in the open knowledge sphere. But for institutions, we have some academics, some cultural heritage, some governments, etc. So really trying to bring together all of them together. And the culmination of that day is actually the roundtable session that Ines is also part of, and she will be leading a roundtable. The whole idea is to move from theory to practice in that session and have some real people talking about their real life problems and thinking together about creating roadmaps, what needs to happen to actually solve it. This is what we're trying to achieve. Again, a big experiment that all these fabulous people that you see in the program are going on this journey with me. And I invite you to join us, is all I can say. It would be really an honor to talk to each of you. And if you can come to London, although it's last minute, please do so. It's going to be a moment, a good moment in time. Fabulous people are coming from all over. And yeah, it's going to be fabulous. And I want to pause here and open for questions, if that's okay.
Thank you very much, Shani. Amazing, I'll say fresh way how to present your project, as we are always, I would say, just sitting down and looking at a PowerPoint. So this is really something nicely fresh. But of course, you have been inviting us for a couple of times to your event for next week. It's only in person, I guess. It's not a possibility.
The main symposium day, unfortunately, is only in person. We are going to record, with the exception of the roundtables due to their nature, but we will be sharing the outputs of the roadmap. So if you want to take part in any of the discussions, you can join in after the symposium and actually contribute. I'm going to share all the outputs here as well in this group, I promise.
Okay. So, and then I would open the floor for the questions, but of course I would also like to maybe ask you for 2 more words on multilingualism.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, and it's been quite a huge topic for the LLMs. So yeah, maybe just a few words on that and the data you were mentioning. And then the second thing is that, of course, in our community calls, we are focusing on different AI tools and services that are adapted for the cultural heritage institutions' workflows in access provision of data and, of course, reuse of data. But you are speaking here about the generative AI, so about different topic. So yeah, that would be maybe something that would maybe need a few more words. And I see Owen also posting a question in the chat. Is there any chance the session on connecting AI to Wikidata will be recorded? So there are 3 topics now to address.
I'll go with the last one from Owen first, just because I think it's easy. Owen, are you meaning one of the roundtables? Is this one of the roundtable topics that you've seen on the program?
Yeah, it looks like it's at 2 o'clock on the pre-symposium training day, actually.
Oh, so this one you can actually register and join us online. The training day is open to everyone, physically and online, so you can actually join us. This would be about the embedding project at Wikimedia Deutschland. I'll maybe say something on that. Wikimedia Deutschland in our movement is the official custodian of Wikidata and Wikibase. The person in their team that is responsible for AI and for developing these, the MCP for Wikidata and the vector database and the embedding project, Philippe Saad, is actually going to be with us and give that training. So do join us. It's fabulous, and this will give a really small taste of how Wikimedia Deutschland is starting to think about implementing. And as you probably saw, Wikimedia Deutschland is one of the core partners to this project. So we're working really closely because the case study that I took for AI Bridges is Wikidata and Wikibases. I can't do this doing it without them didn't make any sense. So I hope I answered. You can register. Owen is the main thing. Register for the training day, and that's that. And it will be recorded as well. As for Ines, your question about multilingualism, that is a really important point for me. I know that at this point I'm sitting I'm at the Digital Humanities Research Hub, University of London, but I come from a tiny country, from this tiny language, and I deeply care about preserving all the world's knowledge, not just the English-speaking world. And for AI Bridges, while I am sitting in the UK, and yes, naturally, it's very easy. It's such a hub for cultural heritage and for academic work as well. And of course, I have some lots of partners in the UK, but I have partners all over the world, and I deeply care about them because they bring all that richness of culture and language. So we want to cater for all of it, not just English. So if you have metadata in other languages, please share it with us because it's very, very useful. I will say that the essence of Wikidata and Wikibase is multilingualism, right? This is about how we are able to, again, not flatten when we connect it to AI. How can we keep that richness of languages and references and cultural history into LLM's answers when we talk to them? So that's the thing on multilingualism. I can't remember what was the last thing. Oh, I do. It was a question about the tools that we're providing. So everything that I will be building and doing is going to be open for everyone to use. That's part of the premise of this project, is that we are doing it for the commons. We're doing it for institutions, with institutions, and we are inviting all of you to be partnering on this. So yeah, I hope I answered. Please feel free to touch base with me if you have any additional questions, and I'll be here in the room to answer anything in chat if it exists. But otherwise, thank you so much for being with me and without slides.
Thank you very much, Shani. There is another question in chat, and maybe you can really answer it also there, because we would now go further with the next presentation that we have. So our next presenter, if I may, I don't think if there's any questions still, please everybody feel free to reach out in chat or directly maybe to me or Shani. But we have the second presenter, which is also with a very interesting presentation. So Slava Tihono, I hope I pronounced your last name right. He's the head of the AI and interoperability at CodeData, and he has more than 25 years of experience in software development, data science, and European research infrastructures. And he is an innovator, IT architect, and mentor. And he focused much of his career on research and education through experimentation, pilot projects, and inventive problem-solving methods. He is a Harvard Dataverse ambassador and co-author of Google-initiated Croissant ML standard for AI. So please, Slava, share with us what you have been working on, what you have developed. I think it's very interesting for our colleagues also from the museum part of the cultural heritage sphere. And yeah, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ines. So actually, I will start from slides. So just give me a second. You should be able to open my slides. So I also will try to make this talk less technical. I honestly gave interview last week, and it was quite technical interview. I can also share if you're interested in the content. Give me a second. I need to share my screen. Hopefully you should be able to see my slides. See that?
Yeah, we do see.
Okay,
Excellent.
good. So today I'm going to talk about sovereign AI and for libraries and museums. And there is a new thing called semantic croissant. And yeah, digital policies, which is really, really hot topic. And I'm going to cover this today, and hopefully you'll have some questions. So let's start from croissant. Probably everybody heard about croissant for machine learning, and this is standard which was originally initiated by Google, and they came to Harvard, they came to Meta, to other partners. So actually, I was representing Harvard University in this group, and also Dansk NLA, which is Dutch institution. And in March of 2024, we produced this standard, and now it's emerging. If you want to do something with AI and you want to submit some paper for NeuroRips or other conference, this is a standard how you're packaging your data and metadata, and after it's getting accepted. So currently, Croissant is supported by major platforms. You can see this Kaggle, which is Google supporting that, and of course Hugging Face, OpenML, and Dataverse. So all of them have buttons, and now you can just go there and download Croissant. So why Croissant, and why it's so important, and why now we are talking about semantic Croissant after 2 years of original Croissant release, version 1.1. So Croissant itself could be considered as a kind of navigation layer. So in this picture, you can see there is photograph of a band, right? And if you'll show this photograph to artificial intelligence, to LM model, it will recognize that there are some musicians and they're playing. And basically, to like bring semantics, you have to show to Croissant, you have to bring semantics inside of the LM model, and you should package all this knowledge in a graph, and that's basically Croissant. So instead of showing only image, you're also showing Croissant metadata, and from that moment, it does understand that this is Freddie Mercury, and this is band, and this is Brian May, and he's playing guitar. So all of that information is being understood by LM model, and it's already inside, and it can give you much more precise response. And we did this work in Muse IT project, and basically we built computer vision for arts and inclusion. And as you see here, you can show any kind of photograph, you can upload a YouTube video, and based on the context which is brought by Croissant, it can understand also time and space, and it can give you a much more precise response. And you can also ask questions about this, because this is a kind of data integration layer that allows also to connect all knowledge and bring it together. So you can show to, and you can apply this any kind of LM model, and it will understand how to navigate through and how to respond to your questions. So basically what we're doing here, I already mentioned a few times, Croissant is a graph and LM is vector. So we are basically bringing two things together, and it's quite challenging. So as you see in RAG systems, we also need to think about control vocabularies and ontologies. And this process is very expensive. So we have to build also AI that help us to integrate that knowledge, and also it should be human in loop. So we're also building human in loop that allows to double check, to verify all knowledge and produce better croissants, more suitable for these kind of integrations. And at the end, we are building distributed AI. So it's not only one model, it's basically a model connected to different resources. You can also think about basically about distributed knowledge graph, which is digitally signed with verified credentials, where human collaborating together with artificial intelligence. So this is how it looks like at the moment. You have this nice picture of Jekyll and Hyde. This is also in my imagination how this fight is going on between all these big tech companies and us, and we're building local AI applications with local models which we are running locally on our computers. And those guys like OpenAI and Anthropic, they're building all these monsters based on markdown files, not really on knowledge graphs. But what we're trying to do with Croissant and with other technologies, we're trying to bring order. So we're also trying to build responsible AI applications, and we're trying to get all this stuff interconnected, interlinked, also with Wikidata and also with Wikipedia, and basically to get this stuff as a triple store, queryable, and also in distributed manner, and also with responsible elements like all resources should be double checked by humans and also integrated in the whole picture. So if you think about AI-ready infrastructure of the future, it's quite complicated. There are a lot of layers. I can quickly mention trust layer, right? So this is based on verified credentials and decentralized identifiers. Semantic layer, which we call CDIF, cross-domain interoperability framework. Governance. So we also have to establish ground truths, and ground truths can be quite different, dependent from time when you are looking at things. There is also drift. It's changing in time. And of course, cross-sum itself is navigation layer. So this is kind of glue connecting things together. And all of that is basically supported for machine learning frameworks. You can quickly connect to PyTorch, Keras, TensorFlow, and train your own model. So this is the idea that it should be like highest level of interoperability between resources, and there is also human bringing data in, and there is AI also producing own data and also like showing to human and after just integrating in this infrastructure. So conceptually, semantic cross-sum is consistent of 5 levels. So cross-sum itself, as I mentioned, is being led by Google itself, and also there is another chair from King's College London, from academia, Elena Simperl. I think she will join your event in London, honestly, because she's very keen in all these developments. So CDF cross-domain interoperability framework is being led by us. We are French-based nonprofit organization, and basically we are building semantics for AI. We are building all those knowledge graphs with very detailed variables, with units of measurements, which will allow to understand and transmit context from human to AI. And another layer is based on decentralized identifiers with digital certificates. And this is something that can bring trust to a response coming from artificial intelligence. It's being led by Austrian partners. There is also ODRL, Open Digital Rights Language Layer, which is being led by United Kingdom, specifically by Darren Bell from UK Data Services. And also there is model context protocol, which is basically an integration of services and tools. So all of that is being brought together, and this open digital rights language, this is very important. So not everybody understands that it's impossible to do AI without having actionable policies. So we're basically trying to put all these policies in digital form and ask AI to follow that. And I'm always laughing about, Anthropic and Google. They started to hire philosophers basically to train to explain artificial intelligence how to behave. It doesn't work. It should be only managed on infrastructure level, where you should be able just to close down access to those bots, and they should be able also to remove data which is compromised. So what we're doing, we're basically building semantic interoperability on the level of infrastructure, and we're contributing to all these data platforms. It's not only one, we're trying to have them all, and hopefully Zenoda will join also at some point. So we'll have also papers, publications also in this. And basically what we're doing, we are creating new response. We're going from centralized response, where everything is being managed on centralized portals. We're building distributed network, which is graph. And in this distributed network, croissant, again, our navigation system. So you can think about croissant as navigation device in your car. So if you want to drive somewhere, first you will go and you will select city name, and after you will choose street name, and after building number, and you are arriving somewhere, and from that moment, it's already city. So you're asking, I need to go to some specific apartment, how to get there. And as soon as you will arrive, you want to show your identification, which is like decentralized identifier with verified credentials. So this kind of picture that quite close, but we are doing this, we're moving this from real world to AI world, and this is why it's challenge for us. Anyway, so if you go to Dataverse, there is croissant button, and it's very simple. You can just download croissant. You can show this croissant to any LM model. they're mostly using Croissant to train those models, so you can just ask any kind of question, and LM model knows how to navigate through different nodes in Croissant, and it knows where to find information, and it does not hallucinate. So if there is no information, just telling you, I could not find anything, and just ask another question. So a little bit about CDIF, and CDIF is not new standard. It's basically it's a functional requirement. It's also a combination of different standards using for that people are using for interoperability. And basically, what we are trying to do, we are trying to build different profiles for different things. Like here, you see we have discovery profile, which is Croissant itself, based on schema.org with some vocabularies for responsible AI. There is also core access, which is ODRL. I already mentioned why you need that. Core control vocabularies and ontologies also with COS and other stuff, and data description and universal. So basically the whole idea of building CDIF, we should be able also to describe variables on very detailed level, as I already mentioned, to have all units of measurements and to have all properties, all hierarchical relationships. All of that should be constructed in one variable, and from that moment, AI should understand specifically everything about variable, and you should be also to distribute this knowledge and share with other people. So now, yeah, I will probably switch because it will be not really, yeah, just give me a second. So you still see my screen, right? So this is important. We call it fair data spaces, and it's being managed by ODRL. So now let's imagine we want to build collaboration between different countries, like European countries plus UK. So what we do, we are basically creating different groups for countries, and after we are trying to create new groups for universities and institutions from countries, and all of that is being managed by the centralized identifier. So it's fair identifier, and as soon as you will do that, so in this example, I just created, like for Manchester University, I created separate identifier. So it's resolvable. It's just like DOI, but decentralized, all right? So it also has, yeah, this is how it looks like. This is in JSON LD. It has a digital certificate, and in this digital certificate, it has private and public key. So private key allows you to change data, and public key allows you to confirm authorship. So it's just the way how you can provide evidence that you created that resource. And why it's important? So from this moment, you can also create your AI agent, and it will act on your behalf, but it will be still clear that you are owner and you are kind of taking responsibility on what your AI agent does. And all of that is being managed through digital policies. So we're also creating those decentralized identifiers for policies. So let's imagine that Alice, and she's from Manchester University, she has some video she wants to share with Bob. So you see here, this is the ID identifier for Alice, and this is for Bob. And this is how digital policy looks like. It was just generated by AI. It's also traceable. It has own ID, and you can see it here. And it's machine actionable. So you can also show to any AI model, and it will understand what to do with it. So you see there is Alice and there is a Bob, and basically action is play and target is this file. So now you can define what kind of actions could be executed, and you can also restrict access if it's necessary. So if you have some sensitive data, you can also instruct AI basically to encode and publish it somewhere, and nobody will be able to read this without your key that you will share with someone else or with another agent. So we do the same also for prompts. So LM prompts could be also distributed in really secure way. Like here, there is a specific DID assigned to this demonstration prompt, and also for variables. So like in this case, we can generate variable for temperature, for example. You see there is a temperature, and it also it's fair, so it has this decentralized identifier. We can always share this the ID with AI agents or with humans. We can also put in publication, and basically this is how we are going to build responsible AI. F and is being organized in that way, and also with croissant itself. So we are putting the ID identifiers on croissants, and after we can just, so you see if there is a croissant. So after, if we have some fields here, like I will go down, so I will find some column name and some description of this column. So now if we'll generate a variable for this column name, and it will be confirmed by human, it could be linked here, and we can just remove all description from this part. So Google and other bots will be not able to read that at all, and they will be not able to train model without our permission. So this is why it's so powerful. You can basically stay in complete control of your data, and you can also share with only peers, that only humans or agents that you trust. Okay, so hopefully this part is clear. So I will move on to another thing. So we are also building AI agents and AI assistants for, of course, there is a lot of interest from citizen science community, and everybody asking, can you give us some AI, and we should be able just to collect data and share data, and you'll be able to analyze data. So we have all those implementations already, and there is an example. So you can just show any page. In this case, it's air quality in Paris. You can just show to this assistant, and it will just go through all values, and it will get croissant and also CDF automatically built for you. So you will get very precisely defined value, and all those values will be organized in JSON-LD, in CDF, interconnected, and you should be able to navigate through, right? The only problem that sometimes it's making mistakes. So we are currently not sharing this solution with people, because we're trying to figure out how this infrastructure will look like after everybody will start to use this tool, how they will take responsibility, because everything should be checked by human. And there is a lot of work, and you have to trust, AI, and you should be absolutely sure that it's extracting right information, it's providing right description of variables. However, we are making progress. So just to give you some illustration, it's already quite high level AI that allows also to basically recognize even random data set. I found this spreadsheet on the internet. I don't know who published that and when. I just showed to AI and asked to describe that. So basically, I wanted to understand if it can extract all column names and understand which kind of variables could be linked based on what is filled here, right? So the way how we are doing that, we're using Dataverse as our supporting platform with human in the loop. So basically, this data set is being uploaded there, and after AI started to work on that about 5 minutes, and started to analyze all these values, and based on characteristics and properties, it started to make predictions. So there is a column birth, and usually if you show something like that to ChatGPT, it will probably make one choice. But here it's basically like trying to understand different choices, that trying to also to predict what kind of units of measure and other information are relevant. And basically it's giving you all options. And after it's using also consensus from different models to understand what suits better for this variable. So as a result, we can also connect something like Cursor or any kind of IDE, and basically asking to describe this data set, because there is CDF already, there is croissant, and it started to understand, oh, well, this column is actually country, right? And this is page ID, and also providing description what it could mean. So it's quite useful already, and basically this control from human, you can make it really high quality data set. You can probably turn it like 5 stars data set, because it's already JSON-LD with croissant, CDIF, and with your own permissions, verified credentials, and decentralized identifier. You can put all ownership also in place, that you actually check that and it's correct, and after it will be distributed for further analysis. So just to give you an idea how it's connected to museums and libraries, we do the same with any kind of visual material. So in this case, I just connected the same tool to YouTube, and I just asked to describe what it's about. And in this case, it was a famous video from Rick Beato about why how AI will fail like music industry. So basically, it's getting all this metadata, it's packaging in Croissant, and also it's getting transcript, and you can also ask questions. And it's not based on like random answers. So because it's in CDF, so it's basically taking all these variables, it's describing nicely. So you can ask questions, and you can also get a response from AI why it thinks so. So this is important that you can actually trace, and you trace all these responses. You can get all logs. You can see what every model responded at which point of time, and you can get all this information filled back in Croissant and make it like really responsible AI application. And you can also exchange with your AI agent, or we share with some researchers who are also interested in the topic. So there are a lot of questions. I already mentioned about ownership. So if you're using AI agent and you are kind of collecting data from agency like weather, for example, so are you really owner of this data set? It doesn't mean that, if you are applying these tools, you're actually taking responsibility from something that which is provided by someone else, right? So who owns the data created by AI? We don't have this answer anymore because everything is being collected from public space, is being trained. So now we have all this information in LAMs, and it's not clear. Also, should we give to AI agents digital identity just like to humans? This is also a very interesting topic because a lot of people start to use AI agents, and no doubt they do something. Hundreds of agents, they are basically going to different websites, scraping information, analyzing. But who is ready to take responsibility if something goes wrong, right? So if those AI agents, they are producing some misinformation and they're publishing something bad, and this kind of stuff, it should be discussed, and we need to find some solution. We also don't know how accurate is AI generated data. So big tech companies are claiming that it's good, but we don't know how it's good. There are a lot of baselines, but there is no like common baseline. We need to establish it, and also we need to understand how to manage organizational and legal interoperability between different countries in European Union and outside, and between different continents. How to deal with China, with US. So all of that all of those questions should be answered. So just to give you an idea what we're doing now, recently Yann LeCun, who is pioneer in artificial intelligence, and he's ex-vice president of Meta, he basically started his own project in January, and now he got his own company. And recently, about 1 week ago, I also got invited for his first project meeting called Project Tapestry. And basically, we discussed how to build this sovereign AI, how to make sure that all this information is in our control. It's not like coming only from big tech companies, but we also have a voice, and every country can think about training own sovereign model. And yeah, it was agreed that like in 1 month, President Macron is going to announce about this initiative. And basically the idea that we're going to create kind of so this model should be distributed between all countries, and it should be distributed without bias. So the idea that it will be baseline established, common baseline established, and after we should be able to go through this baseline and also to understand which model is suitable for which tasks on governmental level. And after they'll get certified, and people will start to use that. Okay, so this is apparently how we're going to do that. So all contributors should train on their own data and in their own jurisdictions and with own compute. and all parameter vectors should cross borders. So this is also essential for us, and this is why we are working on cross-sum ML and CDIF integrations with ODRL and decentralized identifiers, because we want to support this kind of initiative and also bring all power back to our hands. So this is my last slide, and I can also show you some demo now, or I can answer some questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Slava. I think there are many questions that we are also
Many
asking.
questions.
Sorry.
Many questions. Okay, so just one quick. I really wanted to show you something interesting. So just give me a second.
Okay.
I will just use this video just to demonstrate that this technology is something which is already operational. I will just ask my own local AI just to get metadata and transcript of this video. So it will do it quickly. It's also run on my computer and explain what it's about. And yeah, so, and now I can also ask like show me CDIF variables. So it's about pyramids in Mexico and Egypt. And as you see, it's basically providing all information, and you can ask, you can compare things and ask questions like,
So as our time is running.
okay, sorry. So
No,
that's
no. It's okay. It's okay. You just show us. But maybe if somebody has a question, you can
yes.
already put it in a chat.
Yeah,
or
I'm ready
just...
to answer questions.
Yeah. Because I think some participants will also
Slava,
have to.
I might just jump in just to say, because probably you didn't see it. We are starting to work with Playas on synthetic reasoning corpus that I think is highly relevant to everything you're doing. And actually, our projects really collide. So hopefully we can find some time to
I'm talking to Anastasia. She's also here in Paris. So
perfect.
yes. So no
Great.
worries.
Okay, yeah, maybe just the final word because we're really late already with the time. Slava, if anybody, an institution wants to cooperate with you, how can they reach out? How can we build the cooperation at this point?
So just contact me, and I'm pretty sure that we'll find the place how we can collaborate, because we're just starting new projects to produce AI-ready data. First project is called CD4EOSC, and second AI for Social. And we are pretty open for any kind of collaboration. We don't want to do it alone. You know, it's just community effort, and we would like to invite everyone.
Some of the questions you opened, but also some of the topics you mentioned are also connected with the, I hope you hear me, everybody, are also connected with the working groups that we have at AI4LAM. So maybe it would be also interesting that you present your work in the scope of the working groups. Of course, this is now today the community call, and it's going to be published openly to everybody. But there's a lot of discussions on different materials from different collections in our working groups. And I think that could also be very useful for our members. I don't see any other questions in the chat, but as I already mentioned, if there is something emerging, if you think about any questions later on, please don't hesitate to reach out. With this, I think we can close up today's session. And we are looking...
Just last thing, I just shared my last interview, and this is really technical. So if you would like to understand details, just listen to this interview.
Yeah, thank you. No, I also think that it was very good that you shared the slides with us because this we would not be able to to
Yeah.
comprehend completely without your slides. So thank you very much. And yeah, well, we're looking forward to the next round of community calls in June. This will be the last round before the summer vacations. And of course, Slava and Shani, thank you very much for joining us. It was really a pleasure to host you today. And I also hope we will develop the cooperation further on because I think your knowledge and your work is really important also for our community. So thank you very much. And
Thank
well,
you, everyone.
Thank you.
see you next time. And if not before, in London. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.